just talk a little bit about what I see when I look out at the moment. I talked about how it's a great time to be a woman, and how we've got all these opportunities and all these choices, and all this stuff that's just at our feet. But let me tell you what I see when I look out. I see a lot of women playing this superwoman game. This, I have to be perfect at everything. And if I'm not perfect at everything all the time, then I'll just beat myself up for it. I see a lot of women playing the, I just want to be a nice girl. I'm just going to stay small and insignificant. For fear of being seen as too demanding or aggressive. I see a lot of women playing the victim game, i.e. it's not my fault. It's the bank, it's my husband, it's my boss, it's my kids, it's my parents. In fact, it's everybody else's fault, nothing to do with me. That's being a victim. I'm going to talk about that tonight. I see a lot of women stuck in their male energy because they sacrificed a lot of their authenticity to climb that ladder. And I've been there. I know what that's like. And please do not get me wrong here. I am not blaming those women. In fact, I honour those women. Because if they haven't done that, and they don't continue to do that, then we are not going to change the stuff at the top. So please don't think I'm blaming those women. But what I'm saying is that there's a difference between work and home. And unless you get that, you cannot sustain living out of your natural energy. You cannot sustain it. It creates too much stress. It creates problems at home. It creates problems in your relationship. And it really creates problems for you because you're not being authentic. I'm going to talk about that a little bit tonight as well. So I see a lot of guilt. I see a lot of apathy. I see a lot of stress. I see a lot of women juggling, doing the eternal juggling, trying to get this work-life balance, which I'm going to talk about. I see a lot of emotional exhaustion. I see a lot of people just going through the motions. That's what I see. Okay, how many of you have daughters in this room? So would you agree with me that it's what we do today that sets the tone for them? In fact, isn't it what we've been doing for the past 10, 20, 30 years that sets the tone for them? So how are they doing? How are they doing? You know, you can't pick up a tabloid or a broadsheet paper any day of the week without there being something in there about what's happening to our youngsters. And for this evening, I want to talk about the girls. Because yes, I know there are things happening to the guys as well, but I want to talk about the girls. So let's have a think about what's happening. We've got girls that are in this ladette culture that are binge drinking boys under the table, and you three dare say a word? Yeah? We've got girls that are now more violent than they've ever been, so we've got the growth of girl gangs. We've got the highest rate of teenage pregnancy in the UK. In fact, Blackpool has that accolade as being the highest teenage pregnancy in Europe. That's the place it happens. We've got sexually transmitted diseases on the up. We've got girls starting with eating disorders as young as 8. And then we've got the other extreme of girls wanting cosmetic surgery at 15. So, a bit of conflict out there, a bit of confusion, would you agree? A bit of a confused identity. So who do you think their role models are? Who do they cite as their role models? Jordan? Posh? All that rubbish in OK magazine. So the Times did some research about this 2 years ago. And 3 or 4 journalists went out and they interviewed over 3,500 girls between the age of 14 and 18. And they asked them lots of questions, and these were girls from a broad spectrum. These were some girls from very affluent areas, some girls from deprived areas, some girls in very, very high academic-driven schools, some girls in vocationally driven schools. And it asked them some key questions. And one of the questions it asked them was, what do you want to be when you grow up? What is your aspiration? What do you think they said? What's the #1 aspiration for young girls in the UK when this was done? It was only done 18 months ago. Model, be on Big Brother. And a wife, you see, you got them all 3. The first was to be a nude or semi-nude glamour model. 67%. 67%. How proud are we? #2 was to be a wag, i.e. married for money. Weren't we doing that 150 years ago? And the third was to be a contestant on Big Brother. And it was Big Brother, because Big Brother was out at the time, as it is now, but it could have been any reality TV show. It could have been anything that gets me famous now, want to be famous now, this celebrity culture. So, at the heart of being a diva is to be a role model to a young girl. Because they need some better role models. And my first question to you is, how are you showing up for those young girls? If they look at your life, do they say, I want to be like her?